Today we're breaking down a dramatic moment in U.S. Middle East relations when President Donald Trump said that an armada was heading toward Iran. This statement grabbed global attention and immediately raised fears about a possible military confrontation between two long-standing rivals. To understand what this really meant, why it was said, and what the broader implications were, we need to look at the political, military, and diplomatic context around that moment. At the time of Trump's remarks, tensions between the United States and Iran were already running high. The two countries had been locked in a cycle of pressure and retaliation for years, but things escalated sharply after the U.S. withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, officially known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That agreement had placed limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, and many world powers believed it was keeping Iran's nuclear ambitions in check. When the U.S. pulled out and reimposed harsh sanctions, Iran began gradually stepping away from some of its commitments under the deal. Trump's administration pursued what it called a maximum pressure campaign. The idea was to use economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and military signaling to force Iran back to the negotiating table for a broader deal that would also address its missile program and regional influence. Iran, on the other hand, viewed these actions as economic warfare and a violation of international agreements. This standoff created an atmosphere where even a single statement or movement of military assets could trigger global alarm. When Trump said an armada was heading toward Iran, he was referring to the movement of U.S. naval forces into the Middle East, particularly into the Persian Gulf region. Reports at the time indicated that the U.S. had deployed aircraft carriers, bombers, and additional troops as part of what officials described as a defensive posture. The administration said it had received intelligence about potential threats from Iranian-backed forces and wanted to deter any attacks on U.S. interests or allies. The word armada itself was striking. It conjures images of massive fleets and impending battles, and it's not a term commonly used in careful diplomatic language. Critics argued that using such dramatic wording risked inflaming tensions and could be misinterpreted by Iran as a signal that war was imminent. Supporters, however, said it was a strong message meant to show resolve and discourage Iran from taking aggressive steps. To understand why this mattered so much, it's important to look at the history between the two countries. The U.S. and Iran have had hostile relations since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, when the U.S.-backed Shah was overthrown and replaced by an Islamic republic. That year also saw the Iran hostage crisis, in which American diplomats were held for 444 days. Since then, mistrust has been deeply rooted on both sides, shaped by decades of sanctions, proxy conflicts, and political rhetoric.